Well, hey YouTube, I just wanted to kind of go over my weekend. Um, Picked up a new horizontal offset smoker from Gator Pits on Tuesday of last week. I seasoned it on Wednesday like an idiot. Just way too much oil. It happens. But make sure you get a spray bottle that's a mister. You just really want kind of a light coating, or else it drips all over your smoker when you're seasoning it, and it just looks ugly. I'm trying to keep my smoker looking nice. Probably a futile thing. Just the nature of the business is pretty messy, which is all right. But I'm kind of anal like that. I want to try and keep it as nice as I can for as long as I can. So if you're seasoning your smoker, you want to clean it with some soap, the interior, the cooking areas, not the firebox. You don't really touch the firebox except for maybe the seal around the firebox door. You can hit that with a little bit of oil, but you definitely don't want to spray the interior of your firebox with oil because you'll get a grease fire. So one thing you can do on the firebox is on the outside, on the top of the firebox. Some people say that you can spray the top of the firebox, literally the top, not the inside top, but the top, and spray that down with some cooking oil, some high temperature cooking oil like vegetable or peanut, and that'll help preserve the firebox, the metal. I don't really get how that works. I'm kind of calling BS on it, but it can't hurt, so I did it. The other thing is when you're, after you clean out the interior cooking chamber, you want to, like I said, just get a spray bottle with a fine misting nozzle and spray down, the edges where the door is sealing on the smoke chamber. Spray down the entire interior. And especially the lid to the door, things like that. But really where there's areas for smoke to escape, that's where you really want to get that oil, because what happens is the smoke attaches to the oil, it bakes in, similar to seasoning a cast iron skillet, and it creates a better seal. So that's kind of that. So I did all that on Wednesday. I seasoned it with some wood, mostly charcoal, just to save a little bit of cash. And then come Saturday, I smoked a pork butt, which I had injected with a brine of kind of chicken, mostly chicken, a little bit of beef stock, some garlic, and obviously salt and water. It'd been soaking in that. I also injected it for a day. It had been soaking in the brine. It wasn't a very expensive pork butt, so I'm trying to impart a lot of flavor because it's a pretty flavorless piece of meat, really, especially if you're not getting a heritage cow, or a heritage pork, which is generally going to have a lot more flavor, but more expensive. So I smoked that. I smoked a rack of pork ribs. Both of them came out good. I did the 3-2-1 method on the pork ribs, which is basically, you smoke it for 3 hours at 250. You smoke it for 3 hours. You wrap it for 2 with a little bit of juice. I typically use like an apple cider vinegar with whatever. You can add teriyaki sauce is pretty good. And then you put a sauce on it and smoke it for the last hour. Mine were a little overdone. I think my temperature got a little too high, and so therefore things got a little overdone. It happens. But anyways, getting better. I'm just learning my pit, so that's another thing. Your first times cooking on your pit, you're gonna have fluctuations in temperature, and you just learn. Maybe I added too much fuel. Maybe I wasn't quick enough about opening or closing the dampeners, but mostly fuel. I think the thing is that you learn how much fuel you need to add, how much firewood you need to add to the fire, to keep that temperature. And the other thing I learned is that, you know, as soon as you start to see that temperature dropping, that's when you want to add another log, and you just want to add enough wood to maintain that temperature. You don't want to add a big log or 2 or 10 big logs to bring your temperature up 50 degrees. You just want to keep adding enough fuel to maintain the temperature. That way you don't even have to mess with your dampers, right? You don't want to have to choke down your fire and create a bunch of creosote. You just want to leave it. I mean, honestly, the best way to cook is to leave everything open and add the correct amount of firewood. So that would be another tip to practice with your smoker, beyond just getting a good smoke, or at least a 1/4 inch, so that it maintains temperature better. Tuning plates, things like that help as well. Bricks, ceramic bricks in the firebox, in the smoke chamber. Everything like that helps. Water as well. Water in the smoke chamber keeps it moist and helps to maintain temperatures. Things like that will help, but honestly, it all comes down to fire management, especially if you have a shitty smoker. And learning your smoker. Every smoker is different. So that was Saturday. On Sunday, I smoked a rack of short ribs, and oh my God, I mean, those are something to die for. I'm telling you, they're expensive, but well worth it. I mean, it was butter, you know, melts like butter in your mouth. And if you're a beef fan like myself, I love steak. Anything that comes off a cow, I will eat it. Definitely give that a whirl. It's delicious and it's easy. You know, I didn't wrap it or anything. Some people wrap it. You can. You don't have to. It's definitely got enough fat in there to be moist. You don't need. If you want a little bit more bark, I'd suggest not wrapping. Aaron Franklin up in Austin does not wrap, and I think it's the way to go on those personally. And then after that, my wife doesn't really eat too much beef, so I put on a full organic chicken. She's fruity like that. I gotta say, it came out really good though. You know, just kind of, what I found with chickens is you want to put a lot of paprika into your rubs so you get a nice red color. Sometimes on chicken, because you're doing a little higher cook around 300 degrees, it can get black, and nobody really likes black chicken. You do a higher heat on chicken because you want to get that skin a little crispy. The other thing I noticed with the chicken is that it didn't really impart much of the smoke flavor. It was there, but you didn't see a big smoke ring. I think the skin kind of stops that from penetrating a bit. So that's something, you know, maybe at some point I would take the skin off the chicken breast and just let that smoke kind of seep into the chicken breast. But I don't think I would mess with the dark legs. So maybe that's something I'll try in a future video. And I'm also going to try and actually record the cooking. So I apologize that this is kind of a recap. But I'm just getting started. These videos are uncut, unfiltered, unedited. So if I screw up, it is what it is. You know, this is YouTube. And that's part of the channel. But a couple things I wanted to mention about, you know, what I would do differently after smoking the beef ribs. So one, I didn't trim off enough fat off the top of the short ribs. You know, and what I saw is I had a beautiful smoke ring everywhere but where that fat was. The fat stops you from getting smoke to the meat and gets you that beautiful smoke ring, which is just, it's picturesque. What looks good tastes good, almost kind of thing for me. You don't need it. That's the other thing. You don't need fat on the top of your beef short ribs. They have plenty of fat in them. Okay? You know, cut off all that fat off the top. It will render some, but not enough. You know, it's not going to render everything because it just won't. So trim off the fat at your short ribs. That would be the thing I would change next time. And you know, the rubs, do whatever the hell you want. I don't care. I did my own rub of, you know, salt, pepper, garlic, onion powder, and a really hot chili powder. because I'm from, my family's from Santa Fe, New Mexico. We love our red chili, and this shit would blow just about anybody away, any average person. So I did that, and I also add a little paprika for color, because that red really smokes nice. Adds a good redness to the rub in the smoke, the bark. So that's what I would do on the short ribs. The only other thing I would mention is on the chicken. The chicken, I mean, it came out really good, but I guess what I would say is there are things that you need to be conscious about the temperatures. You know, I would say ribs are probably one of those, pork ribs that is, you don't need to monitor the temperature as much. I probably should have monitored it a little bit better, because mine were kind of overdone, falling off the bone. They didn't bend, they totally fell apart, which was still good, but that's not, you know, what you're supposed to have. They're supposed to bend and crack, but not fall apart. So screwed up those a little bit, but again, you don't need to really monitor temperatures. It'll be cooked over 100 times over. But I guess if you were 200 to 203 is probably that finishing temperature that you want. Same thing with like the pork butt, except I wrap around pork butts, I wrap around 165, and then I take them off about 195. And mine was falling apart, beautiful shredding, is delicious. Pulled pork on that. On the chicken, you know, 165, you just set a chef alarm probe, which I did a video on. You want to get one of those, or some good probe, digital probe. Hey Charlie. And then stick it in the breast, put the breast towards the heat source, and set the alarm to 165. Once that hits that, then, you know, use your thermal pin, probe the rest, probe the thighs is the main one, probe the other breast, and make sure everything's done to 165 or higher. And I'm telling you, it was juicier than hell. It was delicious. But that's about it. I think that's the video. That was this weekend, smoking 4 different things on my new Gator pit. Everything came out great, even though I fucked up the ribs a little bit. Who cares? I still ate every single one of them. It was delicious. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I apologize for not having actual demonstration. I need a cameraman. I need editing software. I need to learn to edit. I need to learn a lot of things, but I'm posting this shit anyways, and I hope it helps you. If you like it, please like. If you want to subscribe, go for it. I don't promote anything, but I will say my Gator pit's awesome. Rich, who's on, you know, Discovery Channel, is an amazing pit maker and a great guy. He'll work with you. The worst thing I've heard about the guy in his company is that his pits, he's got such a long waiting list, it takes forever. I got kind of a stock pit that didn't really have much customization. It took him a week and a day or two. So I don't know if he was just trying to help me out, but the guy's awesome. Really a pleasure to do business with. And his pits are a little pricey, but you get what you pay for. They're excellent quality, excellent welds. The fit and finish is immaculate. Another good pit maker here in Houston is Lone Star Grills. Everyone else, I would say, you know, you can go with Close, but it's the same deal. You're going to wait forever, and he's less responsive than a guy like Rich. But think about your resale value. You know, at some point down the road, I'm going to want to sell this pit, maybe get something nicer, bigger. So that's kind of what I thought, and getting it going with a brand name, a name that's well known like Gator Pit. But Lone Star Grills, man, for the price and what you get, they're pretty excellent too. They're up in Conroe, Texas, which is north of Houston, and they are excellent. And I talked to the owner there. He's a stand-up dude too. I mean, these guys are Texas boys. They're good peeps. And with that, I think I'm gonna go ahead and close this call, close this YouTube video, and I hope you all enjoyed it. And I will hopefully see you soon with some real cooks, and maybe get my wife to help me to do some video work for me and teach me how to edit and be cool. Shit. All right. Hope you guys have a good one. See you later.